What's up, y'all? Hello and good evening, and welcome rather to another episode of Trip of Change podcast, the Jackie Robinson Show. I'm Jackie Robinson, and it's a pleasure for me to be with y'all this evening. I know I look a little different, but I thought I would come out, do a little change. I had an opportunity to hang out this past weekend, and I thought I was feeling really, really young, a little lot younger than my age would say that I am. And so here I am tonight, which is Wednesday, the 29th, and we are doing our episode, season 4, number 20. That's a lot of episodes since 2022. And I'm happy to be here to share some things with you on Trip of Change podcast. And hopefully I'll be able to touch somebody out there in the audience who needs to hear the information that we're going to be talking about this evening. And so, let me just take a little sip here. Keep my throat from getting dry. But again, hello, good evening. And I want to encourage you all to go out to our website. You can get there by going to tripofchangepodcast.com, or you could also go to tripofchange.com. We've made some few little changes. And so if you go to tripofchange.com, it should take you where you should end up at our website. And on that website, we have a list of the upcoming podcast episodes, and I'll go into that a little bit more in detail later on. And we have some really, really interesting articles on the Trip of Change website. And so go on out there. I want to also talk about our ambassadors of influence. And these are people who have supported the show, who have gone out and gone to our social media platforms and liked and shared or made a comment, or they went on our website and they also liked or commented and shared an article that we have. And so we appreciate our ambassadors of influence. And so thank you for that. And if you want to become an ambassador of influence, we've got some rewards and some gift items coming up. So if you want to become an ambassador of influence, go on out to tripofchange.com. And there's a link on the menu bar for ambassadors of influence. So thank you to the ambassadors that we currently have. So for today's episode, I'm going to be touching on a book review. We're starting to look at some books, especially for the summer. So we've got a book review. Also, Trip of Change, I am still a wise boomer chick. I am a wise in that I have lived on this earth plane for 69 years, a boomer. So that makes me a boomer, and I'm definitely a chick. So I'm a wise boomer chick. And the thing about wise boomer chicks, because there's many of us, we know stuff. We know a lot of stuff. Okay. And so if you want to know something that happened in the past or happening now or going on for the future, ask a wise boomer chick. And that's pretty much our audience. Our audience is made up of 85% women between the ages of 50 and over 60. And so we want to be able to talk to you all and reach you all with subject matters that you find interesting, and that you can take away some tips and be able to apply them to your daily lives. And so recently we had on the show Miss Kim Averhart. Kim Averhart was the young lady that I met at the Ellis Island when Dana and I went to New York. And so she came on the show and talked about the benefits of being a travel agent. And I wanted to talk about some places that if you're thinking about getting out, I know the flights, there's some issues with flights cancellations, and they've been talking about that in the news, in that the virus affected the staffing and the reservation systems and the pilots and the caterers and all these people who were not going to work. And so now that things are kind of getting back into the business of folks wanting to travel and go places, they are short staffed. And as a result of them being short staffed, they're canceling a lot of flights. And so people are a little hesitant about whether or not they should get out this summer in 2022 and take a trip, especially international. Now, I know I've got some friends who will be traveling to Lisbon, Portugal later on this year, and I'm hoping that they don't have any trouble getting their flights, going and coming back. And so, yeah, travel is getting to be quite risky nowadays. However, if you decide you want to stay in the United States, I've got a couple of places that I want to share with you. And this one place is the Robinson Farms. Now, why do you think I picked the Robinson's Farm? Because my name is Jackie Robinson. So we might be related to the Robinsons, who own the largest family-owned resort in Missouri. This article was written and can be found on Travel Nair, and was written by Parker Dianek or Diakite. Parker Diakite wrote this article about the Robinson Family Resort, or the family farms. Now, Robinson Farms next gen, and I think I touched on that term, next gen. You know, we've got boomers, we got Z's, we got X's, we got Y's, we got Z's, which are Zoomers. And now they've got another category called Next X, but I'm not sure whether or not Miss Robinson is referring to that. But it is the Robinson Farms Next Gen, is the newest Black-owned resort in Missouri, sitting on over 95 acres of land. It is the largest Black-owned resort in Missouri. It's a dream that came true into fruition nearly 10 years after co-owner Drusilla Robinson Perkins says she first received the vision from God. And so a lot of times, you know, when we are asking God for things to enhance our life or enrich our life, he will give us the answer. He will send us the answer. And so it's left up to us to trust and have faith and believe, to get on out there and be obedient and do what God tells you to do. Trust me, if you do that, you will be successful. So if you are planning a trip or to Missouri, check out the Robinson Family Farms, or the Family Farms, the Robinson Farms Next Gen in Missouri. You can find more information about them, like I said, on the travelnar.com website. And so, you know, I want to get back to this travel, because with Trip of Change, we've been talking to people who have traveled or are traveling, either domestically or international. And I've always been curious as to the people they meet, the food, the culture. Did you visit museums? What about the beaches? Those things. Was it safe? Did they have Wi-Fi? How was the Wi-Fi internet connection? And so people who travel are able to share with me these questions that a lot of you have. Now, as retirees, I'm sure we have on our list the possibility of moving to another country. There are things that are going on in America right now that is disheartening, is sad, and it's like, instead of it getting better, because like I say, I've been around a long time. I think Dwight D. Eisenhower was the president when I was born, so that's aging myself and taking it back a little ways, but we're getting to the point where we're retired and we want to live a good life. We want to be able to provide for our family, leave a legacy, but also live in peace and harmony. And that seems to be a hard thing to do when you have men in office, politicians rather, that we've elected to represent the people. And instead of representing the people and listening to the people, they are more or less uh, running to the tune of lobbyists and corporations, and doing things that most people don't want, like this abortion. That is the craziest thing that has happened, where we've had the ability to have an abortion for the last 50 years. And so there's a lot in question in terms of what's next. And you can go on Twitter, you can go on some of these other websites like BuzzFeed, maybe even Huffington Post, and you could go into chat rooms. Reddit may have some information there, and see the protests that are going on all over the United States. It's just one thing after another, and I get disillusioned about the country when I look at people being shot, people being killed, children being killed, maimed. It's just not a good thing. And so that brings me to the next article that I thought was interesting, and that was this article I found about Taraji P. Henson reveals she's seriously considering moving abroad because she's tired. This article was written by Janine Rubenstein on the People magazine, and you can go out there and read it. So I'll just read a little snippet of it. It says Taraji P. Henson might be adding expat, which I talk about being an expat, to her long list of titles. As she gears up to return to host as the BET on the BET Awards, the actress, who also lends her voice to the new animated film Minions, The Rise of Gru, tells People she may bid adieu to America. I'm really considering getting up out of here, leaving and living in another country, she says on the People Everyday podcast when asked how she's been coping with the difficult political and social climate in America. There's a lot of people that are asking that question right now. And her answer is that sometimes that comes with 50. You get tired of fighting. And I'm tired. And I'm 69. And so I've been around for a long time through a lot of movements. And you would think that our social and political and economic climate would be a lot better than what it is. I mean, that's what our parents worked for so hard and strived for, to get us to be able to live a better life than they did. And it just seems like that shit ain't happening. Okay. Inflation, the high price of gas. There's all kinds of things that are going on that just eating into your pocketbook and making life miserable here in the United States. And so I'm with you, Taraji. I've been looking at some places to go myself, and we're looking at Lisbon, Portugal. We're looking at some places in Mexico. I had considered Quito, Ecuador, but they're in a situation right now where there's a lot of protests going on. And so Quito, Ecuador is not a good place right now, but Lisbon, Portugal has been reported to be a hotspot for African Americans. And like I said, I've got a very good friend who's taken her family to Lisbon in the next couple of months. And so we may go out there ourselves and check it out and see and report back on Lisbon, Portugal. And so when we talk about travel, you know, I think I'm not trying to say that things for the generation after me is all that bad, because what I see, especially on YouTube and in my news feed, is that there are a lot of African Americans who are traveling various places, whether that's to Mexico or whether to Africa or whether to Europe or Canada. They are finding places that they want to visit that we weren't able to visit when we were in our 20s. When we was in our 20s in college, we went to Jamaica, man. Okay, we had a good time in Jamaica, or we went to Carbondale, Illinois, to SIU, to the Kappa party. That's okay. I won't get into that. That was some time ago, but that was the extent of our travel, unless we got into the car with our aunt and uncle and they drove us down south. But that's when we were much younger. But in our 20s, unless you had the means to travel, you just didn't go to exotic places. But these young people nowadays, they have boomer parents who work to be able to provide for their children the opportunities to travel, and they're doing that. And they are on Instagram, they're on TikTok, they're on Facebook, they're on Clubhouse, and they're talking about their experiences. And so, as you begin to travel, a lot of times what happens is you have to make all those plans yourself. And there are plenty of websites you can go to check for flights. I use Kayak. I have the Southwest app. I also have the Delta Airlines app. I have both of those on my phone. And so I'm able to check flights. Then there's Expedia and cheap flights. But let me tell you what happened to me. I had booked a flight, not a flight, I had booked a hotel through, I think it was Expedia. And it was for a funeral. I had to travel for a funeral. So I booked the hotel. Now the pictures on Expedia looked like a nice hotel, nice clean place. They were practicing COVID-19 protocols. The room pictures that they had was nice. But child, that hotel, I'm even not going to name the name. It was nasty. It had old pizza off the side of the window, the balcony. Must have been there for a year. That's how calcitrated and molded and old it was. It had a diaper out there as well. The security on the entry off the parking lot, it had a sign that said that you had to use your room key, but it was wide open. And so, there were things about the hotel that I would not have known about looking at it on the internet. But when you see the ratings, and the ratings are 2 or 3, you need to pay closer attention, because that may not be the place that you want to stay at. And that's what happened to me. Now, we can spend a lot of time on the internet trying to find the best hotel, the best travel, airline flight, the best car rental, the best places in the area of the hotel, attractions, all kinds of things. Are there special tickets? What about dinner? Are there concerts going on at the place that I'm going to? And so you can spend a lot of time, I guess, going on the internet trying to figure that out, or you can use a travel agent. And there's two that I'm going to feature on this particular podcast. And one of them is a black woman owned travel agency that will immerse you in black luxury travel and wellness. This article was written by it can be found on blackenterprise.com. And it is about Amnoir founder Christina Rice holds retreats to give attendees a chance to recharge in a space brimming with solidarity and adventure. In 2017, Rice, a certified yoga and meditation instructor and serial entrepreneur, that means that girl just has to be in business for herself, launched Omnoir solely as an Instagram page after a discovery that loosely affects the Black community, lack of representation. And that is something that happens early on social media platforms. You'll find that there are not a lot of African Americans on those platforms like Clubhouse. I remember when Clubhouse first started, there were not a lot of African Americans on Clubhouse, but now I go to Clubhouse and everything that I see is based on African Americans. I don't know if that's the algorithm or what's going on and who I like, who I follow, but there are a lot of Black folks on social media. So she found that Black women and women of color would feel more comfortable in their wellness journey if it was guided by somebody who looked like them. This led her to launch the social wellness community platform, an enterprise that just keeps on giving Black luxury travel and wellness. So that is the Omnoir, Amnoir, Omnoir. Again, this article was found on blackenterprise.com, so you can get more information about that there. And so as we're talking about using a travel agency, I wanted to again highlight Kim Averhart, who is a Trip of Change podcast ambassador of influence. She's been on our show and she shared information about her travel agency and the services that she provides and the things that she can do to get to where you want to go. So again, if you are thinking about traveling somewhere this summer, whether it's domestic or international, give Kim a shout out at 682-269-1614. There's her email address, her website, and see if she can help you plan your next trip, whether it's for yourselves or whether it's for you and a group of girlfriends. You take a girls trip. I'm sure Miss Kim can set you all up and give you the best that you deserve for your trip. And so I'm just going to take a minute here, just a quick second to do something. In the meantime, I want to encourage you all to go out and sponsor or actually patronize Trip of Change podcast sponsor Healthful Essence located here in Atlanta, 875 York Street in the West End. They have some of the best vegan, vegetarian, soul food in the Atlanta area. As a matter of fact, they have people that travel from all over the world to come and check out their restaurant. So give me a quick second. I'll be back. Hello, hello, hello. I am back. I am back, Jackie Robinson, on the Trip of Change podcast with Jackie Robinson, the Jackie Robinson Show. I'm Jackie Robinson. And so, next up that I have to talk to you guys about is our book review. Yes, we have featured a couple of books in the past on a past couple of episodes. And so I thought I would feature another book this evening. And you can find information about this particular book on our website at triplechange.com, triplechangepodcast.com. And that is 52 Ways to Walk: The Surprising Science of Walking for Wellness and Joy, 1 week at a time. And that book is by Annabelle Streets. You can find it on Amazon, but there's more information about the book on our website. And so this short, enthusiastic guide extols walking's mental and physical benefits and will motivate you to get outside and move step by step. And that is absolutely true. That I know there have been times and days, especially during this pandemic, that I've been in the house and enclosed by the four walls, and you get cabin fever. Now, and if you don't have a dog that you have to take out and walk every day, then you just don't go outside, especially in the wintertime. And so when springtime hit, it was time to get out and start walking, because early in the mornings is usually nice, and take a nice brisk walk. It might be in the mid 60s in the springtime, mid 60s. It might be in the low 70s, but a good temperature to get out and walk. And I even find now, since it's June going into July, that early in the mornings is still a good time to get out and walk. But what does that do? There's something about the endorphins or the adrenaline or something in your body that changes your attitude from whatever is depressing you or bringing you down to one of appreciating your environment and appreciating your surroundings. Because when you walk, there are so many other external stimulants to take your mind off of whatever may be affecting your attitude. And so walking is very medicinal. And even if you don't get out and just walk around the neighborhood, girls, we need to get up and go to somebody's park. That's what Dana does. Dana is determined to visit all 413 parks. And when she gets there, not riding around in the cart, she's walking, doing a lot of walking. I know in our travels to the parks that we visited, we did a lot of walking. So that means you got to get some really good walking shoes. You just can't go out there in no flip-flops or some shoes that are not supporting your arc and your heel. And so us older women, we know, I know we could be cute, but we have to make sure that we have comfortable shoes when we get out there and we are walking. It's really good for you. I take my phone, I put my earbuds in, I listen to music. Now, if you live in the city, in a neighborhood where you might encounter animals, loose animals, I also have some mace that I carry with me, and sometimes I carry a big stick, and I use the big stick to just exercise as I'm walking. And so, yeah, get this book, 52 Ways to Walk: The Surprising Science of Walking for Wellness and Joy. For wellness and joy. And so, those are our topics for today. We were scheduled to have Vikram Diol. Mr. Diol was unable to join us this evening, but that's okay. He has rescheduled, and I am really looking forward to talking to him about his journey from India to America, to the United States. And so I'm not sure when that's going to take place, but in the meantime, our next podcast, I got it right here. So let me just get my phone because I'm trying to see if I can see her from a distance. But we got to have our glasses so we can see. So our next podcast is going to be on July the 6th with Shalimar Parrish. And then on July the 20th, we've got Christy Steele coming on board. And then in August, on August the 10th, we've got Cameron Cowan. And so we welcome these upcoming podcast guests to the Triple Change show. And we look forward to having you when you get here. Yes, those should be some very interesting topics, especially for our audience of women in the age group between 50 and over 60, which that includes me. And so this is pretty much going to wrap it up for today's podcast, Triple Change Podcast. And I want to leave you with this closing statement. Change is constant and the clock stops for no one. How do you spend your time as the clock ticks, giving you 24 hours in a day? Stress and uncertainty, the economy, and wars and rumors of wars, death of children, and famine worldwide is more than enough to wonder how much more can we take. In the words of Taraji P. Henson, in the words that I've said, I just can't take it no more. It's just too much. So how do we handle these mental challenges? On the Triple Change Podcast website, I have a feature called Wise Boomer Chick Tips, because I am a wise boomer chick. A wise boomer chick that's been taking the Triple Change for 69 years, living my life in 10-year increments. And so I want you to go out to the website, triplechange.com, and check out our wise boomer chick tips. Number one that's out there now is face facts. Accept what it is, it is. It is what it is, however they say it. But you, at some point, have to face the fact. You're not going to be able to move on to the next level until you face the fact of whatever situation that you happen to be in. The other wise boomer chick tip is this: always be yourself. Be true to yourself at any age, whether you are 20, whether you are 30, 40, 45, 50, 70. Be yourself. Be who you are. Be true to yourself. And as you continue to go through trips of changes, trip change is constant, and we're always going through a trip of change. And so keep these two tips from a wise boomer chick. Keep these two tips in mind. Face facts. It is what it is. And always be your authentic self. And so I've given you the upcoming guest on the podcast show. I want to thank you all for listening. I see you out there. The podcast is growing, and we wouldn't be able to do it without your support. We've talked about several cool articles on the website in terms of the Robinson Farm, the Amwar Black Luxury travel agency, and also our ambassador of influence, Miss Kimberly Averhart, and the Kimberly Averhart Travel Agency. Check her out. You can find more information about Miss Kimberly on our website. We talked about the 52 ways to walk and how important walking is to your general and mental health. Also, I gave you an introduction to our wise boomer chick tips, live from a sage and a maven, because I've been around a long time. And wise boomer chicks, we know stuff. All right. And so until the next time, As always, we say, keep smiling and take a trip of change. This has been Jackie Robinson, podcast host. Peace out.